Today we're going to talk about two companies that want to fire their employees if they don't meet the king's demands. I really don't like doing these videos. I really don't, but apparently they need to keep happening. Sit by and watch this episode if you want to learn more. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate each and every single one of you. Today is Monday. It's the Monday Morning Grind brought to us by Blackout Coffee. Check us out down below, blackoutcoffee.com/GNG. We have all of your coffee, tea, and hot chocolate needs, as well as mugs and all kinds of cool stuff. We have all kinds of flavors to suit your need. We have K-Cups, whole bean, and ground. Check us out down below. Thank you for your support. I also want to thank the USCCA. They're a big sponsor of the channel as well. And if you want to know more about self-defense and what happens before, during, and after, as well as be prepared with self-defense liability insurance, hit up uscca.com/GNG. And I just heard that they removed their defense limits, and that is big. All right, now let's talk about the two companies that are still giving their employees, the people that got them to where they are, giving them flack. And the first one we're going to talk about is one we've already talked about, Hornady. That's right. Hornady put out the letter. I've done the videos. Watch them above if you don't know what I'm talking about. But Hornady's first letter was like, this is the date you have to get vaccinated on, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then they recanted after a couple people did videos about it. And then it was like, oh, no, man, we weren't really saying that. What we were saying is, this. No. But I, again, have heard from several people on the inside, and Hornady is not backing down on the pressure for these people who work for them. I mean, this is amazing. So, at Hornady, they are basically headhunting for the leaks of this information. They've also told employees that they are no longer to have their phones out, and anyone caught taking pictures will be removed from the property. Now, I've heard a couple other things, and I haven't been able to verify them as yet, but the company is even thinking about withholding annual bonuses because somebody let the truth out. So with that said, let me say this. I understand the pressure that these companies, the CEOs, I get the pressure they're put under because they have federal contracts. And that, Bobo is looking to pressure companies to force his mandate in order to keep that contract and keep getting that top dollar for their product. But also, let me say this. This is America. And if you make your money on the freedom community, the very least you should do is stand up for that freedom. Okay? So maybe this is just my pipe dream. But if everybody in the gun community, in the manufacturing community, in the sales community that has government contracts stood up and said, you know what? That's what we think about your mandate. Well, then that would send a very loud, clear, and convincing message. But the problem is people like the dollar bill a little more than they like the freedom of the people who make their products. And that's the troubling part here. We have a freedom of choice in this country. If you want that V, get the V. Nobody here on this side is anti-V. If you don't want the V, don't get the V. I personally don't want the V because I've had the COVID, and I now have what's called natural immunity. I mean, it kicked my booty for a little bit, but I am okay, just like the other 99.7% of the people who get it. Now, I'm not a doctor, and I don't pretend to play one on TV, and I didn't stay at the Holiday Inn and Express last night. But what I want to see is more of these companies stand up for freedom. Yeah, you'll lose those dollars, but you know what? If nobody's providing the government with those products, they're going to wake up quick. And for those CEOs who hopefully we can get to stand, the courts are starting to side with freedom. For instance, in New York, the federal district court blocked the federal mandate for the New York City educators, for teachers. In D.C., the federal district court a couple of days ago blocked Biden's mandate and said that he could not fire federal employees or members of the military for not getting the V. And also Louisiana, we had two victories, two separate ones. One was a college that was trying to force a vax mandate that was stopped. And more recently, there was a company, a private healthcare company, and the workers were trying to stop that mandate, and that was stopped. So there are a few that are trying to, and of course we've had the Supreme Court refuse to hear just about everything that comes to them. So this war right now is being fought on the district court level. And I mean, if courts are starting to wake up, that tells you there's something to it. So stand for freedom. Now, before I tell you about the second company, and your mind's going to blow on this one. Before I tell you about that one, I'm going to remind you that on Wednesday, this Wednesday coming in 2 days at 9:55 a.m. Eastern, I will be live streaming the oral arguments of the Supreme Court case of the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. And if you don't know what that case is, you probably should watch the channel a little more, just joshing, but serious. That is the case that's challenging the way New York does their concealed carry permits. You have to have a justifiable need that has to be more than just like, hey man, I want to defend myself and it's my right. New York and a couple other states, I think it's 8 in total, are may issue states. This will challenge that, and depending on how far-ranging this decision is when they write this decision, this has the potential to be huge. So oral arguments will be Wednesday. We're not going to get a decision until like spring, maybe June at the latest. But if you want to hear how the Supreme Court operates, tune into the channel. I'll have a link floating above. It's already active. If you want a reminder, you can go to that link, and under the screen, it says set a reminder. You can do that, and it'll be right here on my YouTube channel. Now, here's company number 2 that is pressuring their employees. Although they're saying that the government is pressuring them, and there's nothing, like, what can we do about it other than stand up for freedom? And this is Geissele. That's right, Geissele. Now, the sad part is like how this went down. Maybe this was planned. Maybe this was just how they do things at Geissele. But I want to thank those folks who work at Geissele who have told me what's going on. And it's time for us, the freedom community, to hold those companies in the freedom community to hold them to the Constitution. That's all. And this, again, happened Thursday, the 28th of October, mid-afternoon, 3-ish. It was an all-hands-on-deck meeting in the parking lot, and it was held verbally. Now, several things were discussed, including, but not limited to, the upcoming federal vaccine mandates. Now, this is America. We have a constitution. We don't do mandates in this country. Kings do mandates. We are not servants of the king, and Bobo, for whatever reason, can't get that through his thick skull, maybe because he doesn't even know who he is or where he is. But we don't do mandates in America, guys and gals. We don't. Now, to his credit, Bill Geissele said that it should be up to the individual on whether or not they want to get the vaccine. Okay. He also said that he and Amy, his wife, are not forcing anybody to get the vaccine. Okay. Now here's where it gets juicy. Apparently, effective November 14th, in 2 weeks, all federal contracts are going to be written with a clause in there that mandate the V with no exemptions. How freaking unconstitutional is that? No religious exemption, no medical exemption. So if you are a person who is susceptible to all kinds of problems, if you have a diminished immune system, they're going to force these people via their contracts to inject this chemical concoction. And we already know the list of things that potentially could go wrong. But if you're somebody who has, you're immunocompromised, well, then your chances go up. So again, another company who's saying it's not us, it's Bobo, but you're going to have to get this vaccine. Now, at Geissele, my information is that the company is reorienting themselves, restructuring so that they do most of their work for federal contracts. As a business, great move. Why? Because the government will pay $130 for this $15 hat because it's not their money, it's our money, and they don't care. They're not very good with the purse strings. They don't balance a budget, so they'll overpay for products that these companies make just so that they can be at the front line when it comes to getting these items. You've noticed it's difficult for us, we the people, to find ammunition readily. I mean, there's pockets that have it, but the government contracts take priority. They always get their product. So back to Geissele, anybody that doesn't have the V or can provide proof of full vaccination, and for those who are thinking, just print the cards up, those people, if you get the thing, you're put into a registry because they have to track the adverse reactions. And there have been cases, a couple here or there, where people have just made cards and submitted them, and it's come back to haunt them and they're getting criminally charged. So there's ways they can check on that. But if you cannot provide proof that you have been fully shotted when these new contracts take effect, then you will be terminated. And again, Bill Geissele said it's not us, it's them. Now, right now, there is no vaccine mandate at Geissele. However, if the federal government follows through with the promise that on November 14th, all contracts from that point forward will have this mandate written into it with no exemptions. At that point, Geissele is prepared to terminate people because they don't meet that requirement. Now, like I said at the beginning, I really don't like making these videos because these companies make good products, make products that we all use. But I think the disconnect is where these CEOs no longer think about what the group, the ones that made them successful, the ones that do the work that gets them these contracts, they don't care about them anymore. And what I would like to see is more of these people who hold the government basically in the palm of their hand because, you know what, we make your product. And if we no longer make your product because of this stupid demand you have, you're not going to have it. Okay, yeah, could there be criminal or court actions because you violated terms of a contract? Yes. But I think that we the people, would be able to help support you in those endeavors because there's many more of us than there are of the jackboots. But for whatever reason, America is as soft as it is right now, and good times create weak men, and weak men create bad times. And that's where we are right now. But, my fellow Americans, the new sons of liberty, bad times create strong men, and strong men create good times. Now, again, there is no mandate right now at Geissele, but they're going to use that contract as a way to push it. Maybe it's because of the flack other companies have seen recently. Maybe not. Maybe that's why they didn't put things on paper. Maybe not. But just it's disappointing. It's disappointing. Guys and gals, we're at a time in this country where we need to band together. It's time to get through our differences. We can still have different opinions, but ultimately it's freedom. And if we don't band together for freedom, we won't have freedom. With that said, if you want to stay up to date with the news on the Second Amendment, good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, no matter where it happens, please consider subscribing to Guns and Gadgets. Just hit the button down below. And until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, carry a gun to keep you, yourself, your family, your community safe. Take care, everybody.